Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're just waiting on a couple more people to join from the waiting room, and then we'll get started. A couple more people coming in. Okay, great. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. So as you know, or if you don't know, my name is Sarah Thomas, and so I am the Manager of Recruitment and Marketing here at Schulich, and I oversee admissions to our Tech MBA program. So today we are just going to go over all of the features of the program, talk about the curriculum, as well as towards the end, the application process, should you still want to apply for either this fall. So we are still accepting applicants for this fall, provided that you are a domestic applicant. Unfortunately, we can no longer accept international applicants for fall 2025 because the visa processing timelines are quite lengthy. So you wouldn't be successful in receiving your study permit before the class begins, but we are actively still accepting for domestic. Okay, we just have a couple more people in the waiting room. Sorry, let me just do this. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this meeting is also being recorded. So I will be sending a follow-up email after once we have edited it, and then we will send it out to you so you can watch it at a later date. Okay, so for those of you who are in attendance today who may be unfamiliar with Schulich, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the actual school. So Schulich is actually a part of York University, and this is the third largest university in Canada. And so we are located in Toronto. So this is Canada's largest city. It's known for being very diverse, very welcoming, very multicultural. And Schulich is consistently ranked one of the top business schools in Canada among the best business schools globally. And these rankings include The Economist, Forbes, CNN Expansion, and these are in categories such as return on investment, promoting responsible business, the potential to network, and the diversity of our alumni and our recruiters that hire from our students. So after the program, most of our students do see a strong return on investment within about 3 years of graduating. So this is for our regular MBA program because the Tech MBA is actually the first of its kind and the only one of its kind in Canada. So we are actually bringing in our third class this September. So we don't have a 3-year out model to promote yet, but we do find that the return on investment for our Tech MBA students actually happens within about a year and a half when we look at our first cohort. So given these highlights, we of course attract a very diverse range of students into our classes. So we attract about, I would say 70% of our students are from non-traditional business backgrounds. So a big question that we get when students are applying to the Schulich MBA, the Tech MBA, or really any of our business programs, because we are the business school, we get asked, well, I don't have a business background. I have a health background, or I have an engineering background. So can I still apply? Sorry, we've got more people in the waiting room. There we go. So can I still apply? And the answer is yes. So as I mentioned, 70% of our students in our classes typically come from non-traditional backgrounds. And we have lawyers, we have healthcare workers, we have people who are in arts and media. So again, we have a very diverse student body. And it's really great because once you're in the classroom, you'll be exposed to different perspectives within the classroom and different approaches. So not only are you learning from the curriculum, but you're also learning from your peers that are in the class because again, we kind of silo ourselves into who we're working with or who we're studying with. And a lot of the time, if we're in one specific industry, we really do kind of have a very siloed lens to different strategies and different problems that we're trying to manage in our day-to-day work life. And so hearing different backgrounds coming from different cultures, coming from different industries and sectors really allows you to kind of broaden your lens and look at things from a different perspective when it comes to the business problems that you're facing. And we also have a very strong alumni network. And so we have 36,000 active alumni. So that's active alumni in 90 different countries across the globe. So really, regardless of where you're working, where you're traveling, there will likely be one of our alumni branches close by there to support you. And our alumni are also people who hire from our student body. So they understand that the Schulich curriculum gives them an advantage and they want to hire from our students who take our programs because they've done it before and they know that they're equipped with the knowledge they need to succeed in their business. So that is a very kind of high level of Schulich. I do want to note, so I think we've got everybody here. I did want to note that if you do have any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat, and then I will hopefully be able to answer them throughout the presentation, but we'll leave some time at the end to answer any questions that you may have if we didn't target them throughout the presentation. Okay, so let's talk about the Tech MBA specifically. So this was really designed to evolve at the speed of tech. And to do this, the curriculum of the program is really, it's intentionally dynamic. So this is meant to be ever evolving and constantly changing and adapting to the latest advancements and trends that are driving the market today. So this means that the students who in the class right now, what they're learning, you could be learning something very different this time next year because tech is constantly evolving, especially at the intersection of business. And so a key hallmark of the program is also its strong emphasis on experiential learning. So we want to give you real world assignments and case competitions. There's also a mandatory full-time internship that's actually embedded into the curriculum. And so this really ensures that our students are always equipped with the most relevant knowledge and skills. So when they graduate, they are able to say, yes, we've learned all of this knowledge, not just in the classroom, but they can also say to future employers that they have experience actually applying it to the real world and putting it into practice before they even graduate. And the program is also very heavily involved and embedded in Toronto's tech scene. So this is where our students will have access and exposure to the Toronto Tech Network with executives in the classroom, mentors, and partnerships with major tech industry leaders. And these are also the people that are informing the curriculum. So I will go into depth about all of these points that I just touched on in a little bit. But I just mentioned that the industry leaders are the ones who are informing the curriculum. And so that leads me to introduce you to our Tech Advisory Council. So as I mentioned, the program is very a part of the tech scene. So there's a deep integration with the tech ecosystem within Toronto and more globally. So our students really do gain unparalleled access to the city's tech network. And this is through, again, like I mentioned, those interactions with industry executives, that one-on-one mentorship opportunity, and partnerships with major tech leaders, which is part of our advisory council. So this impressive council that you see here on your screen is made up of industry partners, some alumni, and then really the leading voices in tech. So this council is the one that actually guides the fluid and that cutting edge curriculum based on the tech developments. So a lot of these people are already, they're still in industry or have a very, very strong foundation that they had previously in the tech industry. And they're the ones who are seeing things in real time and the needs of their employees that aren't really fulfilling kind of maybe the digital transformation that they're looking for in this new digital era. So they're the ones who inform the curriculum, and these are the people who are really essentially waiting at the door to hire you once you graduate because they know that, okay, these people are the ones I want because they're actually learning the gaps that we need filled in our offices. So these are, again, the Tech Advisory Council, but you can go online to our tech website, and then each one of these faces has a drop down where you can read their full bio and learn a lot more about them as well, if that's of interest to you. Okay, and so you've heard me talk about the mentorship program. And so a big question that we get is what is the difference between, let's say, a general MBA that really every business school offers and a tech MBA? So because it is the first and only one of its kind in Canada, a lot of people are hesitant to understand that this is still an MBA, but it just has a new modern technology focus because it really needs to adapt to the way in which business is moving, which is technology. So really the narrow focus on that technology really does serve as the biggest distinguishing factor, I would say, between the regular MBA. So a regular MBA is really designed to give students the opportunity to, let's say, change their functional orientations. But the tech MBA is focused on individuals who are either in the tech industry right now, or they're in tech-enabled roles in another sector. But this is also somewhat of a roadblock for some students because they say, well, I don't know if I'm in a tech-enabled role. But that is hitting the nail on the head because every company is now a tech company, whether they like it or not. And so all of our roles are tech enabled in some capacity. And so that really does make you eligible for this without a business background or a tech background. But again, it's really designed to enable, let's say, the students who are already in the tech industry to stay there, or to prepare students coming into the tech industry to be managers and leaders in that space. So the program is a 16-month full-time program. And so again, this is essentially designed for tech leaders of the future in business, where you are learning the most cutting edge kind of technology and business intersection. And we have three key features of the program. So I touched on them a little bit, but I'm going to dive deep into each one of them right now. So of course, there are many features of the program, but these are probably the most impressive and exciting features that I really want to highlight for you today. So the first one being the mentorship program. So this is where mentors are selected and matched with Tech MBA students at the very beginning of the program. And this really allows our students to have a one-to-one connection with experienced executives. You also have access to their network, so you're gaining industry insights to really advance your career. And this also, again, allows you access to their network to build your own strong network of industry contacts and learn from people who already have experience in this tech industry. And the way that it works is the program selects your mentors based on your experiences, your background, your future career goals. And we want to ensure that you're matched with somebody who will be able to kind of guide you and support you through your journey in these specific areas. So we don't have a list of mentors that we pull out of a hat and match you with. Each year, what we do is we pull all of the information from our students who are coming into the cohort. So we look at, like I said, your work experience, but we heavily look at your future career goals. And then we go out into industry and we find people that very closely align with those goals so they can give you the best experience possible. And each mentor is only having one person. So there's only one mentee. So your mentor is not mentoring 5 other people, 10 other people. They are yours one-to-one. And this follows you through the entire program, hopefully after the program. But it really is kind of up to you and your mentor to pick your own path of how you want to formulate that relationship. So some people have dinner once a week, some people text each other, but we do have formalized meetups as well to make sure that you're on track. Okay, let's move on to the next feature. Okay, so the next feature is our Venture Studio project. And so this is in partnership with 111, which is essentially the home to the most promising tech companies. So they offer space, support, and also programming to those rapidly scaling tech companies. And they also are in partnership with our internal Schulich startup organization. So within the Venture Studio project, you are matched with companies to complete strategic product and fundraising analysis for these firms. So essentially, it's like a consulting project where you're doing this in your 3rd term after your core courses. And I'll go through the curriculum in a little bit. But this is where we get into really applying the knowledge that you've learned from your core courses in the MBA to a real world project. So again, like I mentioned, you're matched with a company. This is a team project. So you're working with about 3 other individuals who are also a part of the Tech MBA program. And you are working very, very closely with this company to do these different consulting projects for them. And so these are companies that are not just starting out with their business idea and you're helping them scale. These are companies who are already seeing a lot of success. So we have some companies who already have $30 million in investments. So you're really immersed in the scale of that company and then learning from them as well while you apply your knowledge that you've already learned. And then I'm sure many of you have probably heard of the regular MBA's capstone project. We call it the 601 project or the strategy field study. And again, this is virtually a consulting project with a real world company. So the Venture Studio is very, very similar and it mirrors the 601 project, but it really gives you that hands-on real world experience with that strong focus in technology and startup firms. And the great thing about it is because we are partnered with 111, you also have 24/7 access for free to all of their space, their support. We have exclusive networking events with their network. So we have big parties at 111 that is exclusive only to our Tech MBA students. So again, you're really growing your network in and outside of the program as well, based off of these projects. And so I also wanted to talk about the other side of this. So of course, the project really does talk about that consulting aspect and that exposure to the networking opportunities. But you also have guest lectures. And so we bring in top founders in the tech industry, and we also bring in venture capitalists. So this is in addition to that mentorship program that I was just speaking about. So you'll always have your mentor, but then you also have a project mentorship during the venture studio. And like I said, these are with leading innovators and investors. And the project course is run by the two people that you see on your screen here. So we have an award-winning professor, Chris Carter. He is also the executive director of the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship here at Schulich. So he is internal to Schulich as well. And then he is partnered with Matthew Lombardi to co-run the project course. So Matthew is the director of platform services at Pollinator Fund for Good with TELUS, but he's also the former managing director at 111. So there's no shortage of support and amazing networking and mentorship opportunities here in alignment with the other mentorship that you'll have throughout the program. Okay, and then lastly, our very exciting feature. So this is the mandatory and guaranteed internship. So this is a feature that many of our students are very excited about, especially our international students who may be coming to Canada for the first time. They really want to immerse themselves in the Canadian market, but they don't have anything to put on their resume to be able to be hired after the program. So this is a really great way to get a strong foothold in the market before you even graduate from the program. And the way that we've done this is the internship is not an additional 4 months to that 16-month program. It is your last 4 months. So it is your last term, and that will run from September to December the following year after you start. And you will be working full-time with a tech company. And all of these internships are paid. So in some capacity, so whether it be a stipend that they have, or some of them are just a salaried wage, it depends on the company that you do your internship with. But the great thing is, like I mentioned, it's guaranteed and it's mandatory. So if any of you have experience maybe in your undergrad, or if you've already done a master's where there is an internship component, but you are tasked with really going out and finding that internship yourself. So like our regular MBA program, we do have an internship opportunity, but that would add 4 months onto their 16-month program. So it makes their program 20 months. And we do have a list, of course, for all of our students to access, but they do need to apply and interview for the position, and it can be quite competitive. For the Tech MBA program, you have an exclusive list. So these are companies that we have sourced and positions that we have sourced exclusively for our Tech MBA students. Of course, you still need to go through the process of interview and hiring, but we have this kind of group of companies that offer a myriad of different roles. So it could be in healthcare, it could be in banking, marketing, consulting. It really is kind of up to you to pick your own path. But no other people have access to these specific internships. And like I said, this is at the end of your program, so your last 4 months. And the reason why we've done that is, well, again, like I said, for a multitude of reasons, but really that if the company is hiring and you do well, that you will be offered full-time employment upon graduation. And so I would say in our last cohort that we brought in, I think it was 80% of our students already were hired on full-time before they even graduated. So they had a full-time permanent position in these companies before they even had the MBA in their hands, which is really great, so that you have that security even before you graduate. And then, so in preparation for this internship, you will have a 1-year professional development course. So this is called the Professional Development Hive, and you'll see the information here on the right side of your screen. And so this takes place over the first 2 terms. So this is before your venture studio, this is before your internship, and this course really focuses on increasing your employability, and also understanding how to really engage in a more strategic and meaningful job search. So this course is really designed to give you those soft skills and develop those soft skills so you can be a strong leader. And you will have opportunities to engage in different networking sessions. We have 8 different guest lectures that come in. These are all C-level speakers from various companies. And you'll also hear from our alumni through various panels that we host as a part of the curriculum. And in addition to that mentorship program, in addition to the project mentorship with the industry leaders in the Venture Studio project, and you also will be able to receive 4 individual one-on-one coaching sessions to help you develop and build your business and self-awareness, your technical skills, and your soft skills as well. So again, that's in addition to all of the other mentorship opportunities and coaching sessions you are receiving throughout the program before you take these internships and venture studios. And so they also have different mini programs where we really focus on developing not just your technical skills, but your communication skills. So we actually last year had someone come in. So we hired a corporate etiquette, dining etiquette coach. And so we had the vice president of one of, I believe it was CN Rail, and they had dinner together. And so you have a corporate dining etiquette coach there, and they're teaching you how to dine in a corporate environment so that you aren't worried about what you're doing at the table, how you're eating, but you can really focus on those strategic conversations with the person sitting across from you. So there's just little things like that that are immersed into this course that you really wouldn't think of, but it also allows you to develop those soft skills, like I said. Okay, so this is kind of the entire curriculum at a glance. So I've talked about the key features of the program, and then this is how they're really woven in. So you can see that professional development hive that I was just speaking about. This begins in term 1, and this is along with your other core courses, and this also follows you into term 2. So you can see that your first 2 terms, so fall, which is September to December, and then winter, which is January to April, end of April. Those are your kind of fall and winter terms. So like I said, these are your core courses, and this is really how our regular MBA is also set up too. So we want to give you that strong business foundation management knowledge, and then you can build on that with the more real world experience opportunities so that you do have that strong background before you proceed into these different opportunities. So you can see too that your 3rd term, so this is the summer, so this is May to beginning of September, that is when you are doing your venture studio project. So you are working alongside that business that I mentioned, but you also have 2 electives that you're able to take. So again, these electives range from very technical ones, so you can take courses from our Masters of Business and Analytics program, or our Masters in Management and Artificial Intelligence, which have a lot more technical aspects to it, if that's something of interest to you. But for the people who may be coming in who have that really strong tech background, don't really need to learn about the tech side of things anymore, you can also focus on a lot of our other business electives too, that are really kind of a deep dive into more business aspects that you may not have had exposure to in the past. So that's your 3rd term. And then your fall term, so that's the September to December the following year, is when you are doing your strategy course. And then you're also doing that internship. So these run concurrently together. And so we really set this up intentionally so that you are learning all the key elements of business management, but you're also learning how these all really uniquely tie into technology. Because again, as I mentioned, this is really where business is headed. So we want to make sure that our students are not only equipped to succeed, but we really want you to thrive and accelerate in your careers post-graduation with this unique education. So this is your MBA journey here. So I will move on. I think we've got some questions in the chat, but I'm going to leave those to the end because I just want to touch on our requirements checklist. So as I mentioned, we are still actively accepting domestic applications. So this means if you are a Canadian citizen, if you are a permanent resident to Canada, then you are able to still apply. We do have different deadlines every single year. So you can see on the right-hand side of your screen that we do have different rounds. So I will say these deadlines are more in place for our international students, and this is because of the constant changes with the government, the lengthy processing timelines for the visas. So some countries we are seeing over a year processing for their study permits. And so we want to get ahead of this and make sure that we are setting you up for success so that you do have a longer runway to be able to successfully obtain your study permit well before the program starts. And so again, we are still accepting domestic applicants. And I know that we have this deadline here, but we will accept into August should we still have space in the program. So don't worry about being able to submit right away before July 24th, because we do work on a rolling admissions basis. So let's say if you apply today, we will look at your application once you apply. So we're not waiting to bulk review on the round deadline. So we will look at it as you apply. And so for application, you will see that we do have a requirements checklist here, and this very closely mirrors a regular MBA program. There's a couple of different exceptions that I'll go through, but we of course require an undergraduate degree from a recognized post-secondary education. And this is with a minimum of a B average, and we only look at your last 2 years. So if you have a 4-year degree, we only calculate your average based on the last 2 years of study. If you have a 3-year degree, we will look at year 2 and 3. And then we also have students who apply who already, let's say, have a master's. So maybe they have a 1-year specialized master's. What we will do is we will take the first year of your master's and then the last year of your undergrad to calculate that B average. And for our international students, what we do is we have an assessment team who are able to take your transcripts and then really assess them based off of the grading scale of your university and convert them for you. So you don't need to do any of that work. You just send along your transcripts from whatever school or country they may be from, and we'll take care of the rest. I will say we do have the minimum B average, but we take a very holistic approach to the applications. So we have people who have lower than a B average. We have people who have higher than a B average. But the people, let's say, who have lower than a B average could supplement that with some stronger work experience. Maybe they have a GMAT or a GRE that has a great score, and that will help strengthen their file. So don't discount yourself if you have less than a B, because we absolutely have people in the program who have less than this, but have strengths in other areas. Because we do understand that you typically have been out of university for quite some time. So that is not indicative of your capabilities at this time. So we do have flexible options there. I did mention the GMAT or GRE, and I want to say that the difference from a regular MBA to this one is that we do not require a GMAT or a GRE. So that is not something that we will ask you for. Let's say if you come to me and you do have a very, very low average, like a C- or something, then the admissions committee may ask to see some proof of your quantitative abilities, which would come through in a GMAT or a GRE. But for everyone else, you do not need a GMAT. So that is a nice exception for the Tech MBA program. And then we do have a 2-year minimum work experience requirement. And so it does say in technology firms or technology enabled roles, but again, as I mentioned before, we're all in technology enabled roles. So if you are sitting there saying, well, I don't think that I'm in a technology firm or a technology sector, we all use technology every single day. That makes you eligible for the program. And that minimum 2 years is post-grad. So after you have completed your undergraduate degree, we need those 2 years. They could be different companies. They can be puzzle pieced together to get that 2 years. They don't need to be a consistent company. You could have moved around, been promoted, things like that. It just needs to add up to a minimum of 2 years. I will say for anybody who is maybe a little bit junior and you're just out of your undergrad degree, but you will have 2 years of work experience by September, then you're absolutely still able to apply before you reach that 2-year mark, because what our assessment team does is we calculate the months based off of leading up to the program. And if you will have it by September, then you are good to go and we can still work on your application. Sorry, we've just got some people in the waiting room again. Okay, and so then we go into the online application piece. And so what happens here is you essentially go onto our website, and this is for any of our graduate programs, and you essentially create your own little portal. And so you will be able to log in and out of this. It's password protected. This is where you will upload your resume, your unofficial transcripts. So we don't need your official transcripts sent from your school yet. We can have a picture, we can have a screenshot, a PDF. That's completely fine, just as long as we have all of your post-secondary transcripts, whether it be if you went to, let's say, college for a year and then did your degree, or you have a master's, then we need to see all of those. And that's just for auditing purposes. Should you receive an offer of admission, then you will be required to get your school to send those official transcripts, but you'll have tons of time to be able to do that before the program starts. So in addition to the resume, the transcripts, we do have a couple of different pieces throughout. So you will see we have essays. I hate that we call them essays because they're not essays. They're about 350 words in length. So it's really just a statement of purpose. And so we have two of these. The first one is mandatory. And this is just a statement of where you're talking about your short-term goals and your long-term goals and how this program will really help you achieve them. So this is your opportunity to really puzzle piece together your intention for the program for the admissions committee. So this is where you're showing your alignment and why you should really be in this program. I always use this as an example, but in previous years, I had someone apply and they were already in a technology sector, but their long-term goal was to launch their musical career and be a musician. You don't need a tech MBA for that. So even if you have great grades, you have great work experience, if there is no alignment with the curriculum and the curriculum outcomes, then you wouldn't receive admission to the program. So like I said, this is really where you're piecing together your alignment for the admissions committee. So that's your first essay. The second one is optional. So when I say optional, I mean optional. You don't lose points or gain points for doing it or not. This is just an opportunity for students to really explain anything to us that you don't want the admissions committee to assume about you. So more often than not, people who do utilize the second essay will talk about some dips in their grades, for example. So if somebody has really great grades and then we see in third year that they have just plummeted, we want to know why. So don't let the admissions committee assume that that's just what your academic capability is. So we have people who say, well, I was ill, or maybe one of their parents or a guardian fell ill and they had to assume a caretaking role for them. And so, of course, life happens and your grades are going to be a result of that, so lower grades. So please tell us that. If you have a gap in your resume, don't let us think, oh, maybe they were fired and they can't find a job. Tell us, did you go on a sabbatical? Did you travel the world? Or did you maybe try your hand at your own startup? So again, making sure that you're really closing the gaps for the admissions committee. With that being said, if you have nothing to address, you can leave it blank. I would say more often than not, a lot of people leave it blank, but please take advantage of it if you wish to do so. And so that's your essays. We do require also video assessments. So these are also called essays. They are not. We work with an online platform called Kira, Kira. And so this is a platform where we use video to interview you for questions, essentially. So they're all timed. These are very, very quick. They're kind of fun. A lot of people are nervous about them, but again, it's just one piece of your application, and we do see strength in other areas. But what happens is you essentially log into this portal, and then you are able to practice some questions first, just to get a feel of what types of questions you'll be asked, because we do have a bank of questions. It's all automatic. They're randomly selected, but all of the questions are hypothetical or they are open-ended. So they are situational based. There will never be an academic question, a math question. It's more, what would you do in this situation? Or if this happened, how would you react? So there's no right or wrong answer, and these are all timed. So you do have 45 seconds to prepare once you see the question, and then you have 90 seconds, so a minute and a half, to answer the question on video. So really this is just looking at kind of, are you dressed professionally? Are you looking at the camera? Are you able to express and articulate your thoughts clearly? Are you answering the question? Because a lot of people do get nervous, and they start off in this great story and it's going really well. And then the 90 seconds is up and we never get the answer to your question. So making sure that you are being concise. If you answer the question and you have time left, you can just click next and go to the next question. So there are 2 of those on video. And then there is one written component where it's very similar. You're not on camera, where you will receive a situational or behavior-based question. And then you have 5 minutes to type out your answer. And I will say, again, I know this is a tech program and we all love ChatGPT. He's my best friend. But we do have AI on our back end to tell us if you are using any AI to help you with this. And that automatically disqualifies you because, again, this is your opportunity to really show us who you are and why you're unique and why you should be a part of this program. And so, yes, please absolutely use AI to help you with a prompt. So let's say you're struggling with your essay, you can ask for some prompts to get like your brain flowing to be able to answer the questions, but please make sure that you are being authentic and have some integrity while you're answering our essay questions. And so that is your essay and video component. And then lastly is 2 references. So we do require 2 professional references. We don't accept academic. So these are references that do not need to be a current manager. They could be people that you've previously worked with. They, of course, could be your current manager, but you really do just need to make sure that you are selecting people who can speak best to your abilities. So we are not looking for the CEOs. We're not looking at impressive titles because more often than not, if somebody is putting the CEO of their company, they probably haven't worked very, very closely with them for the CEO to be able to answer the questions that we will be asking them. And so that results in a weaker reference. So what happens is you will provide us with their first and last name and their email address in that portal, and it automatically sends them a link to an online questionnaire in their email. So they're not writing you a reference letter. This is a questionnaire with specific questions that we ask them, and it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to fill out. So we know that a lot of referees are very, very busy. So this is a great way to kind of expedite that process. And like I said, the questions are very specific. So you want to select somebody who can speak best to your abilities on a team, your greatest contributions to the company that you were working at, how you work in stressful situations. And so again, selecting people that are close to you that can speak best to your abilities. And that will be throughout the ending portion of your application in that portal. If you are an international student and you have studied in a language that is not English, you will be required to submit an English language proficiency test. So we accept IELTS or TOEFL. But if you are international and you have studied in English, so usually your transcripts will say medium of instruction was English, you're exempt from that. So that's just one piece for our internationals to remember if you are studying in a different language. And that is it for our requirements. So I know that is a lot of information. It's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose. So like I said, this is being recorded so you can look back on it. But I just want to move on to the final piece, which is our tuition fees and financial aid. And so we have a breakdown of our tuition fees and financial aid for domestic and for international. And so I know looking at these numbers, it can be daunting, but we also work with all of the big banks that provide loan programs, that provide personal loans to our students. And so these interest rates are typically more favorable than what is actually posted. So we do have that partnership with all of the large banks. And then for our international students, we have private loan programs that we work with different companies on. So we work with Empower, Prodigy Finance, and this is really to ensure that our students have the ability to fund their education. So we do understand, of course, this is a very significant investment, and we want to ensure that you are receiving the best of the best for your investment. And so that's why we have, again, that mentorship program, the one-on-one coaching, and that mandatory internship where you will be earning money for that 4 months at the end of your program. So we also have scholarships. Many of our scholarships are primarily merit-based, so this goes off of your grades. for domestic students only, after the application process, you are going to be prompted to fill out a financial aid application. And so this is an opportunity to tell our finance department about your financial status. And so how are you planning on funding your education? And then based on these responses, you're automatically considered for any scholarships or bursaries or funding that we offer. So there's no separate application process. For our international students, it is just automatic. So you will be automatically considered for all of our scholarships and funding. So again, for the form, this is located in your portal. It's called the Schulich Entrance Funding Application. And should you receive an offer of admission, none of our offers outline any funding or scholarships, because what happens is, should you receive an offer, that automatically triggers your financial aid form to be sent to our financial aid department, and then they assess you for scholarship at that time. So typically, I would say it's about a week turnaround time. Of course, in very, very busy seasons, it could be a little bit longer, but you will receive word whether or not you have received funding from our financial aid department after you've received your offer. So this is, again, kind of the opportunities here. And oh, sorry, I forgot to mention OSAP. So for domestic students, the program is also OSAP eligible. So that is for Ontario residents. You are able to apply for OSAP. So again, we do understand that this is a very, very substantial investment, but the ROI is also very substantial. And we understand no one has this money in their bank account. I mean, if you do, I'm very jealous. But we all kind of puzzle piece together our tuition. So we have some scholarships, we have some loan programming, we may have some personal savings. So it really is just a puzzle piece together, and we are here to help you and assist you along the way to make sure that you're successful in the end. Okay, and then last but not least, we do have some inquiry forms that you're able to fill out. You can send an email to our admissions inbox, and that will be sent to me. We will have some drop-in sessions coming up that are not yet on the website. I'll have to double check if they've been on the website yet, but that's where the QR code will take you. If not, we are going to include the upcoming sessions in our follow-up email with that recording for you.